Welcome back to City Trends. My name's George Miller. I'm the host of City Trends, and I also own GNS Consulting. And what I wanted to share with you today is we created a workshop at GNS Consulting, how to get a job in 90 minutes. So for any of the organizations out there that are looking to employ people but maybe don't offer those skill sets, the soft skills and the training, feel free to contact me at GNS Consulting, and we can come in and do a 90-minute workshop on interview techniques, how to build a portfolio, and a couple of things that we do is they don't just go to the job interview with a portfolio or with a resume. They go to a job interview with a portfolio. That's one of the ways that they stand out when they're interviewing. And in the portfolio, we have a cover letter, the letter of interest. We'll have them build a resume, and we teach them techniques on how to build that resume so that it stands out. And then behind that, they'll have their 3 letters of recommendation. And we prefer that they have their letters of recommendation in letterhead if they can. And then we put them in order of priority. If someone had a PhD and they recommended them, that would obviously be the first letter. And then after that, we'll have them have any certificates, awards, credentials, transcripts, and all of this will be in the portfolio, excuse me, for the job interview. The reason why this is critical is when they're interviewing, we also have them make copies of everything ahead of time. So what we don't want to have happen is when people are going into a job interview, the last thing we want to have happen is the interviewers have to get up and say, oh, let me make a copy of this, let me make a copy of that, because our candidates already have those copies made. So as soon as the interviewer says, oh, I need to make a copy of this, they say, I have all your copies right here. And that way they have that full attention, the full attention of the person that's interviewing. And this is critical in a competitive market. The other thing that makes this so vital and viable to have a portfolio is because it shows certificates and awards in there. And you may ask, why is that so important? And one of the reasons for that is you can go all the way through an MBA program, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good team player, that you work well with others. It just says that you learned this material over this many years and you're competent. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go in the workplace and you're going to be able to interact with others. Okay, it's that IQ versus EQ. You got the IQ, you got the intellect, you have the background, but do you have that emotional quotient to interact with the other people in the workplace? And the MBA doesn't necessarily guarantee that. But by showing in your portfolio that you've been on teams before, you played sports, you've done stuff in the community, it tells the person that's interviewing you that I've worked on a team to accomplish a goal, and we were successful. And that's a critical component of any job, is to be able to work well as a team. Another thing that we do is we teach them how to stand out in an interview. We had one young lady, and we teach all our students to do this, and everybody has a story to tell. So we teach them to emphasize that at the end. Emphasize your story. Why are you the person that should be hired for this position? And they can even start off with, let me share why I'm sitting across from you today, and tell their story at the end of the interview. And that's really, really an important component of that interview, is sharing your story. And one of the reasons why it's so important is you may be competing against 15 or other qualified candidates for that position, and you want to stand out. So by telling your story, it helps you do that, because we're wired to remember stories. And the reason for that is the written word's only been around for the last 500-600 years. Prior to that, we've passed everything down via story, whether it was our legacy or our history or the wise men in our community. They would get together and they would share the story about our clan or our lineage or whatever the case was, and they would pass it down via story. And we are wired to remember that. Also, all of our belief systems, regardless of what belief system you have, if you look at the book, it's usually filled with stories. Why is that? Because we're wired to remember stories, and we can pull the truth out of stories, and it stays with us. So we teach our candidates to tell their story in the job interview. And I'll share what one of the young ladies did, and I thought that this was phenomenal. She was at the end of her interview, and like they do all the time, the panel asked, "Do you have any questions for us?" And she said, "Well, no, this is more of a statement than a question, but I would like to share this with you. I was in the lobby, and I saw my competition. There's people out there with more qualifications than I have, more experience than I have. I get that. I get that. But let me share something with you. Most of those people out there, they're from LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, and they came down to interview for this position. My grandparents are from the Central Valley. My parents raised me here in the Central Valley. I'm raising my children here in the Central Valley. Now, if you hire one of those candidates, they may very well stay here. But chances are, in a year or two, if they get the opportunity to go back home, they probably will. But for me, if you hire me, I will stay here till I retire and do the best possible job I can for you, because this is my home. And so what she did by doing that, by sharing her story, she flipped the script. Because when that panel first started, they were looking for the most qualified, most experienced candidate. But by the time she got done with her story, they were looking for the most loyal candidate. And she met that criteria, and she got the position. So that's the importance of telling your story. So, and GNS Consulting, we offer leadership, communication, team building, de-escalation, how to get a job in 90 minutes, power speaking, public speaking. We have several workshops available to us. If any of you are interested, please give me a call at 559-309-0787. Thanks a lot, folks, for tuning in to City Trends today, and we will see you next time. Thank you very much.